This conference will now be recorded.
So, welcome to the Load Runner session. Yesterday, we completed the initial demo session where we have discussed about what is the performance testing and what we have also covered what are the components of Load Runner architecture, and also we have recorded a simple flow using one of the component called Vusion. Okay. Um where we have just recorded the flow and executed the script and understood like how the script is being recorded, okay, and how the results are being displayed. And also we have discussed about of course we have discussed about the course content and course duration and all those things. So in today's session, for those who are attending, today as the first session, I request you to go through the previous session, the yesterday's session as well, demo session as well. So in today's session, we will be discussing about the performance testing and types of performance testing which are important. Okay, for every performance testing project, these are the mandatory ones. And tomorrow and maybe day after also we will be discussing the most important theoretical concepts, okay, like the workload modeling and all. And once we are done with that, we will be moving on to the practical sessions, starting maybe Friday or Monday. We will be starting practical sessions, so from then onwards we'll be having complete practical sessions for about a month. Okay, so this is just for the guys who joined today itself. So coming back to today's session, one second. Okay, so coming back to today's session, let's say that there is a bank website. Okay, let's say that there is bank website, and assume that morning around 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. where more number of people access the bank website. Okay, so let's say that user 1, user 2, user 3, so on till user 100 are accessing the bank website. Okay, now users are nothing but people accessing the bank application, right? So we have discussed in yesterday's session how these users are generated, right? There is a component called load generator which is responsible for generating the users, virtual users, right? These virtual users are nothing but people accessing the bank application. Okay, and all the users who logged in simultaneously are called concurrent users in performance testing terminology. Okay, these users are called concurrent users. Okay, and what these users do, they try to access the bank application. Okay, that they try to access they try to perform different actions on the bank application, like downloading a bank statement, transferring money from one account to another account, paying some utility or credit card bills, right? So when all these users perform different actions on the bank application, we will be analyzing how the application is performing, or how the application is responding, or how the application pages are loading, or how fast these users are able to perform those tasks. Okay, so we will be measuring all those. We will be measuring all those things. Okay, and yesterday did we discuss like, do we have any standard for measuring all these things? Like, yes, for example, if you click a link and if you are about to navigate to another page, the standard amount of time it should take to navigate from one page to another page should not exceed 2 seconds. That is the industry standard. But in some projects it is okay, depending on their project architecture, it can be 3 seconds or 5 seconds also. Okay, but the general industry standard is, when you click a button or when you click a link, when you navigate to the next page, it should probably land on the next page in next 2 seconds. Okay, so that is the industry standard. So all these users all these users trying to perform some actions on the application, trying to analyze how fast the application is responding and how fast the application is performing, right? And when you say about, when you discuss about performance testing, it's all about applying load. If you test the bank application with one user, there is no point, or we cannot say that as a performance testing. When you apply some load, like how it is displayed now, user 1, user 2, so on till user 100, like various users trying to access the bank application. So applying some load on the bank application and trying to assess the bank performance, application performance, right? So that is all about performance testing the or evaluating the system performance under virtual user load, evaluating the system performance under virtual user load. Okay, so you can call it as um, performance testing. Okay, and also the basic load test will come under this particular thing. And then when we move on to the next slide, now whatever the discussion we had just now, like how the users gets generated, and the users applying load on the application and trying to assess the system performance and all those things, that is a generic point of view, which I explained. But there is also some technical definition to this, a kind of textbook definition, which is not mandatory to go through or remember or something like that. And of course, this question will not be asked in interview as well. If you go and attend any interview, they might not ask you what is performance testing, or they might not ask you what is a textbook definition of a performance testing. No, but however, um, for our understanding purpose, we'll just see what is this textbook kind of definition of performance testing. See, performance testing is testing an application for speed, stability, and scalability in production-like environment under virtual user load to meet non-functional requirements. Okay, see, this definition looks pretty, I won't say confusing, but pretty little bit, you know, um, tough to remember this definition, right? So no need to worry. Anyhow, we are not going to explain this in this sort of definition in interviews or something, because no one is going to ask. But as I said, for our understanding, we have to know what is this definition all about. So um, instead of directly reading this definition, we'll try to understand each of the terms what that is mentioned in the definition. So what are the different terms that are mentioned in this definition? You see, speed, stability, scalability. Okay, speed, stability, scalability, production like environment. Okay, virtual user load, non-functional requirements. So these are some of the terms, okay, which are included in this particular definition. So let's understand speed, stability, and scalability first, and then we'll come back to them. So here, if you see, performance testing is measured using, first thing is speed. Speed is nothing but how fast the application responds to your request with expected or current load. Right, that's what we have been discussing. How fast the application is responding, how fast the pages are loading, how fast the users are navigating to the next pages. Okay, with some load. Without load, we cannot call it as speed, no performance test at all. Now, in other words, response time should be less than SLA. SLA is service level agreement. So, as I said, the generic industry standard is 2 seconds. In a similar way, every project has some SLA like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, or 5 seconds. So all the response time should fall under that SLA. Okay. So whatever the SLA that the client is providing, okay. So the response time should fall under that SLA. If it is going beyond that SLA, there might be some issue. Okay. So the first thing is speed. Second thing is stability. Actually, few years ago, initially the performance testing was measured only with speed. Okay, only with speed, how fast the application is loading, how fast the pages are loading, and all those things. But with trend changing, and with with changing in with the changing in project approaches and requirements and all those things, the stability and scalability came into picture. So stability means performance should not degrade even after using the application for a long time. So let's say the application is being used for, let's say, 5 hours continuously. I'm using the application. So the application, how fast it is responding in the first 1 hour, it should respond in the same way throughout the 5 hours of, 5 hours. Okay, so it cannot be like in the first 1 hour the application should respond fast, and in the last 1 hour the application should respond slow. It shouldn't be like that. So that's the reason we test the application for stability. Okay, so for how it is performing in the longer duration. Okay, that is for stability. And then we have something called scalability. So application's ability to handle increasing user per user without performance degradation. So if the users are increasing, okay, or let's say that the client is saying that in future the number of virtual users might increase from 100 to 500. So keeping that in mind, so generally we test the application for scalability by testing with 500 users now. So how the application was responding, okay, how the application was responding with 100 users. We should also see how the application is responding with 200 users or 300 users or 500 users of, assuming the future growth. Okay, and the performance should not degrade here. Performance should not degrade in spite of users increasing. Okay, so these are the three terms: speed, stability, and scalability. Remember these three words. We will relate each of these words to different types of performance testing, okay, in some time from now. Okay, performance testing is very, very important, guys. So let's say that what if the performance testing is not what if the performance testing is not done or not implemented in any of the projects. So what might happen? Why performance testing is important? If you ask me, um, the entire business depends on the performance of the application only, right? For example, uh, Gmail is there, or I'm just taking an example. Gmail is there. So if you enter your username and password, and then you log into the application, as soon as you log into the application, you don't see the home page. It generally, so what I mean is, assume that it would take 1 minute or 2 minutes to see the home page itself. Assume that after login, assume that it would take 1 minute or 2 minutes to just load the home page itself. So is it okay for us if it loads in 1 or 2 minutes? Generally, we won't accept that. In sense, we won't feel like using that application if it takes so much of time. We will generally look for alternative application, right? So they will lose the business if the performance is not up to the mark. Okay, so the companies, they lose the business. That's the reason they give more importance to for the performance of the testing the performance of the application. Okay, and especially these big let's say these e-commerce websites are there. Some of the days they give some offers and they call it as big billion day or big sale day or whatever it is. So on that day, generally daily 100 people, let's assume that daily 1000 people are accessing. On that day, let's say 1 lakh people will use 1 lakh people will use it. So the client should ensure that the application is supporting 1 lakh users. The client should ensure that the application is supporting 1 lakh users. Okay, so then only he can say he can go for a big sale day or big billion day, whatever it is. Okay, we have seen some few instances in the past where clients announcing some of the big sale or something like that, and all the users trying to access that application to purchase some of the products, and then application crashing or something like that, application going down, servers going down, right? When Yeah, so that means they did not test that application for performance for those many users. If they would have done that, the application wouldn't have crashed, right? So that's the reason performance testing is very, very important. Okay, and including these terms: speed, stability, and scalability. Okay, these are the terms which are very, very important. Performance testing is measured using speed, stability, and scalability. Okay, so anyways, come back. Let's just remember these three words: speed, stability, and scalability. We will relate these three words with different types of performance testing, okay, in some time from now. What is this next slide? This next slide, next slide is all about the comparison of production environment like production environment versus production like environment or the performance testing environment. So I would explain you this later, because right today I'm not sure. Today, we will park it, because these are some big terms, and guys coming from non-IT background might not understand directly if I explain this. No, like if I say what is app server, web server, and all. So let's park this particular slide or this particular term, and then let's move ahead and discuss about types of performance testing. So I have mentioned here different types of performance testing. You see load test, stress testing, endurance test, scalability test, volume test, failover test. Okay, these are different types of tests that we work on in our projects, performance testing projects. So let's begin with the first one, load test. Okay, so as it says, load test ensures that the application under test, AUT, we call it as AUT. We might use this term AUT going forward as well. This is one of the terminology in the performance testing, AUT, application under test. Okay, or generally in the software field, it is the term AUT. Load test ensures that the AUT, application under test, is stable and can handle expected load once the application is deployed. What it means is, um, see, this load test is all about the term speed which we have discussed. Load test is all about the term speed, how fast the application is responding under some load. Okay, okay, how fast the application is performing under some load. Okay, that's what it is. See, expected load 100 users. Here you can see expected load 500 users we are getting. Okay, we are getting 500 users. This is the expected load. This is the load. Okay, now let's say that we have to test the application with 500 users. Now this is the expected load. Who is giving this 500 number? Who is giving this 500 users number to us? Either client will give, or the business analyst will give, or the application team will give. Either the client will tell us, hey, can you test my application with 500 users? So the basic test that we would perform for that application would be load test with 500 users. The basic test or the first test that what we have to perform is the load test, and we have to see how the application is performing under some load. What is the load? That number of users load will be given or will be shared by the application team or the client. Okay, so how they share it, on what basis, they are getting this number, we will discuss in our upcoming session. Okay, uh, then again, this obviously this load test is related to the term speed, what we have discussed earlier. Okay, and the next test is stress testing. Okay, so simple thing is, stress testing is conducted by increasing the user load gradually until the application breaks. Generally we keep on increasing the load and see what is the saturation point or what is the breaking point. Okay, so when it breaks, for example, I will give you an example of a hotel or a restaurant where there are 5 tables. Okay, where there are 5 tables, and there is a helper, or there's a helper or waiter or server, whatever it is. Not so he is taking care of those. That helper is taking care of those 5 tables. Okay, that means he will be taking the order from the customers and delivering the food to them. Okay, and now he was successfully managing to take care of 5 tables in terms of taking the order and delivering the food. Now that now that due to increase in demand, okay, there is a demand. The owner of that restaurant decided to increase the number of tables from 5 to 7. Okay, then this helper who was taking care of or no who was taking the order and delivering the food, now he is able to take the order from 7 tables and deliver the food. Okay, he is able to take the order from 7 tables and deliver the food successfully. Now again there is some increase in demand. The owner decided to increase the number of tables from 7 to 9. Okay, now This helper who was taking the orders and delivering the food, he's still able to manage 9 tables. That means taking the order and delivering the food, but he is taking little bit more time in terms of delivering the food. For example, earlier if he used to deliver the food in, let's say, 15 minutes, 20 or 20 minutes, now he is taking 30 minutes. Now he is taking 30 minutes for 9 tables because there are number of tables increased. Now again, due to some sudden increase in demand for the restaurant, the owner decided to increase the number of tables from 9 to 11. And then this helper uh, who was supporting the order taking the order and delivering the food for 9 tables, now he couldn't manage to deliver the food for 11 tables, nor he could take the order from 11 tables and deliver the food. Okay, that means it's done. He cannot support beyond 9 tables. He cannot support beyond 9 tables. So that's the max he can support. That's the max he can support, and that too with delay in delivery. That too in delay in delivery. So 11 he cannot do it, or simply he will say no, I cannot do this job, and he will quit it. He will quit it and he will walk away. Right. So if you see the same way here, um, here also we are trying to increase the user load gradually. Okay, gradually, and see where it is breaking. Okay, when the application breaks, we apply some stress on it, continuous stress. Okay, like see, increase the users from 500 to 800, 800 to 1200, 1200 to 1500, 1600. Like this, we can increase the load. Okay, we can increase the load. See here, 500. Okay, 500 users, 800, 1200, 1500, 1600. So once that breaking point is attained, there is a noticeable increase in errors, and also there is a big increase in response time. There is a big increase in response time. Okay, so that is all about the stress testing. And the next one is endurance or SWOC or duration test. Each project will use a different name. Some projects say it's endurance test. Some projects use the term SWOC test. Some projects use the term duration test. All are same. Okay. This endurance test is nothing but testing the application for stability. Okay. So generally the test will run for 3 hours. Basically, the first point is 3 hours, 5 hours, 8 hours, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, something like that. So the test will run for longer duration. And then what is that we are trying to find out from this test is the response times should be constant throughout the test. That means the application should perform constant throughout the test. The performance of that application should be constant. Like in the first 1 hour, how the application is behaving, it should behave in the same way throughout the test. Even though if it is 3 hours of test, endurance test, or 5 hours of endurance test, or 1 day of endurance test, whatever it is. The purpose of this test is to identify performance bottlenecks like memory leaks, etc. Like memory leaks, etc. So we will discuss this memory leaks and all again in our upcoming sessions. Okay, because that is some of the advanced concept. So purpose of this test is to identify the performance bottlenecks like memory leaks, etc. Okay, so the term stability refers to this particular type of test. The term stability, which we have discussed in the earlier slide, will refer to this particular test. Okay, so what are we trying to do? We are trying to analyze how the application is behaving throughout the test. The application performance should be constant, right? That is what we are trying to do here, and we call it as endurance or SOAK or duration test. Okay, we will explain you this memory leaks part in the upcoming session. Okay, now the next one is scalability test. Like as we discussed earlier, the term scalability, it directly relates to this type of test. So generally, assuming the future growth. So obviously, when the client, if there is a client, he has some assumptions like how the business might grow in the future. Like let's say today the number of users accessing the bank application is 500. Okay, let's say today the application number of users are using the application is 500. Now assuming the future growth, let's say the assumption is 100% of growth will be there in next 1 year. There will be 100% of growth in the next 1 year. So what will be the number of users in next 1 year? 1000, because currently it is 500 and we are assuming 100% growth. 100% growth in sense 500 into 500 plus 500, that is 1000 users. So keeping that 100% growth in future, okay, we will test the application with 1000 users now itself. We will test the application with 1000 users now itself. Or let's say the current load is 500 users, and that's what we are testing all about. And assuming 50% growth in next 1 year, the number of users that we would test now is 750. Okay, testing the application for future load. Okay, considering the future growth of the application down the years. That is all about scalability test. Okay, and then we have something called volume test. Volume test is exactly same as load test only. Volume test is exactly same as load test only. The only difference is this volume test is all about database. Okay, or testing the database, okay, performance, more of testing the database performance. So when you say volume test, it is first thing is it is similar to load test. The only difference is the amount of data that is present in the database. Okay, for example, today there are 1 lakh records in the database. Today there are 1 lakh records in the database. Assume that in the next couple of years there would be 4 lakh record data. There would be 4 lakh records data in the database in the next 2-3 years. Okay, considering the business growth, the number of records that will be present in the database in next 2 to 3 years is 4 lakhs. Now, keeping that in mind, now itself we will insert that 2 or 3 lakhs of 2 or 3 lakh records of data into the database with the help of database administrator. Okay, and then then go for a load test. Okay, we are not doing anything. It's exactly similar to load test. We are not changing anything. Okay, how the load test is performed, we will do the same thing, but only difference is intentionally we will insert a huge amount of data into the database and test how the queries are running. Are there any long running queries? Okay, how the database is performing, how the overall application is performing, we will analyze. Okay, so that is about the volume test. And next one is actually the failover test, for which there is no slide. I will explain you here. Basically, the failover test, how we do is, what is the purpose of doing failover test is, so generally just understand that for every application there will be multiple servers. Okay, what is a server and all we will discuss, but just for now just understand that every application will have different servers or multiple servers. So let's say that this is server 1, this is server 2. Okay, this is server 1 and server 2, and let's say this is the performance testing tool, okay, or the end users, whatever is testing. So the request here there will be one more or you can directly call it as, so the request will go from this particular customer to this server and this server. This is, let's say, server 1, okay, and this is server 2. Okay, okay, ignore the color, guys. If you don't like it, I didn't get any color directly, I used it. Okay, so this is server 1 and server 2, and let's say this is a client, or let's say some load generator machine also, where the execution is happening. Okay, so here the requests are going continuously to server 1 and server 2. Let's say 1000 requests are going, okay, to server. So server in sense the application only, it will have servers in the backend, multiple server instances. So the requests will go to, so let's say 1000 requests are going, 500 to this and 500 to this, 500 to this and 500 to this. Now let's say for some reason this is down, for some reason this is down or crashed or whatever it is. So in real time what should happen is, if one of the server is down, the request coming to this server should be automatically routed to this server, should be automatically routed to this server. Okay, so that is what we have to test here. What we have to do is we have to work with the development team. We have to work with the development team, and intentionally we have to bring down one of the server. Intentionally we have to bring down one of the server, and we have to verify whether all the requests are being routed to automatically routed to this particular server. Okay, and then we have to bring this up again, and then we have to see once this server is up, whether again the requests are being routed, half of the requests are being routed to this server or not. So that is all about failover test. Okay, that is all about failover test. How the application is behaving when one of the server instances is down. Okay, that's what we have to check. Okay, I will explain you in detail again when in the upcoming sessions about these concepts. Okay, but this is on a high level about the failover test, and we have to discuss some of the important concepts like server, load balancer, app server, web server, and all, which we will discuss tomorrow. Okay, so and one more thing, coming to this load test, generally load test will be done for 1 hour, guys. So any load test will be done for 1 hour. The base of any performance testing project is load test. So if you are getting any application for performance testing, the first type of test that you would perform is a load test. Without performing load test, there is no point in testing going for other types of tests. Okay, there is no point in going testing other types of tests. That is one thing. We will be testing for 1 hour. Okay, and then one more thing, one more point you have to remember is in the endurance test. Okay, in the endurance test. Okay, in the endurance test, the load that we will apply, because this test is all about testing for stability, right? We will run the test for 3 hours or 5 hours. The load that we will apply for this type of test is either 100% load, whatever the load we have used for 100% test, sorry, 100% load test, or you can test with 75% of the load. Whatever the load that is applied to 100 to the load test, right? That number you can test with the same number here, or you can use 75% of that number. For example, we are testing the load test with 500 users. Now this endurance test can be tested with same 500 users or 75% of it. What is 75% of 500? 375 users. So we can test with 375 users or 500 users depending on project. So in some projects they prefer testing endurance going with 75% load for endurance test. In some projects they will prefer going with 100% load for endurance tests. Okay, so it all depends on how the project, what is the project is following. So these are the different types of tests that we perform in every project. Okay, failover test is something rare. We don't perform it unless and until client asks us to do. Okay, because that's require some special uh, you know windows, test windows, and all those things, and support of development team is also required to development team or any other support team, in fact, to bring down one of the app servers and all those things. So so most frequently executed tests, the most frequently executed tests are this one: load test, endurance test, stress test, or scalability test. These are the most frequently executed. Okay, so most frequently executed tests are these ones. So in any performance testing project, you start with load test. Okay, and then you go with endurance test. You can go with stress test or scalability test. You can go with stress test or scalability test also. Okay, so these are the different types of performance testing, and we will discuss the remaining topics in our next session, because this is only the first day, right? So just want to keep it simple and try, just want to keep it simple and try to understand what are the different types of performance testing from a theoretical perspective. Okay, so in the upcoming sessions we will discuss about how these can be configured in a practical way, how these types of tests can be executed in a practical way also, we will be discussing. Okay, so any questions? Any questions? Not only from today's session, general, if you want to understand from performance testing perspective or any load runner tool perspective or course content perspective or duration perspective or any support from us, support from our team, whatever it is, you have any doubts or you can clarify, because this is only just day one, right? I just want to give you some time, uh, okay, to post some questions. You can post the questions in chat window as well. Yes, yes, I will be taking one additional session for non-IT guys, especially non-IT guys, to make them familiar with the performance testing terms and terminologies. So what do you mean by terms and terminologies here? So for example, let's say here we have discussed one term, AUT, application under test. Okay, and somewhere we have discussed about what is that? Uh, uh, Different types of performance testing and this AUT application under test, why performance testing, what is the issue, what are concurrent users, for issue we call it as bottleneck. What is that bottleneck? So these terms and terminologies, whatever these are, which are new to non-IT guys, okay, completely new to non-IT guys, we will be discussing, okay, in a separate session as well, and anyone can join that session. Okay, I will be informing you when that session is scheduled. Most probably it will be over the weekend. I will let you know soon. When will the performance engineer get involved in project delivery cycle? So basically, Vamsi, like how the software development life cycle is there, or for functional testers or automation testers, they have software testing life cycle. For performance engineers also, for testers also, we have performance testing life cycle, or we can say the process usually followed in our performance testing project. So we will be involved right from the non-functional requirements gathering phase. That means when when the requirements are being gathered for the project, for that release, okay, or for that cycle, we will be involved from that phase. Okay, we will be or in some projects how it works is, when the development is complete, when the development is almost complete, so and when the application is stable, when the application is stable, the application team or the development team reaches out to us, reaches out to our performance testing team. They will ask us to perform or test the application for performance. So then we will again begin the cycle, our cycle, performance testing life cycle separately, with non-functional requirements gathering. Okay, so we will gather all the requirements, like how many types of tests we have to perform. Okay, what is the application architecture, what are the timelines. Okay, all these details we will take from them, gather from them, and then we will work on our workload modeling. Also we will take what are the scenarios we have to test. We will not test all the scenarios, we will test only critical scenarios. So how do you analyze a critical scenario? Or in fact they will give us the scenarios, but I'm just saying that they will test only critical scenarios. For example, if there is a bank application, what are the critical scenarios? Like again, transferring money from one account to another account is critical scenario, right? And paying a credit card bill or something is a critical scenario. But going to account profile and changing password might not be critical, because most of the users don't do that frequently. The frequently performed transactions will be, actions will be critical for us. Okay, so we will be developing scripts from our end, and then we will be creating test data and all those things. We have a separate session for that, tomorrow, maybe tomorrow, where maybe tomorrow one slide I will discuss about this performance testing life cycle, or the process that we usually follow. So these are so for your question I'm just answering. So these are the steps or process we usually follow whenever in every performance testing life cycle. Okay, so these POC is something for new projects and all. This NFR, test plan, workload model is very important, which we actually do every time. as and when the release starts. And then this scripting, test data, scenario analysis, reporting, these are all also the important tasks that we do. Okay, and our work starts here and ends here. Okay, and all these four which you are seeing on the left hand side are document based. These are document based. These are all practical things. Like developing script is practical, creation of scenario is practical thing. These are all document based, like gathering some information about how the project, about the project and all. Okay, and then workload modeling is somewhat theoretical, but it is very, very important. Without workload modeling concept, nothing works. Okay, the execution won't happen. So that is that important. So this is the process usually we follow. Okay, we will discuss in detail in next session. Any other questions? Yeah, the course will be continued like for 30 days, 30 working days. You will be having sessions, and the recorded sessions will be shared with you on a daily basis. Yes. Yeah, we will start practicals from Monday or Friday once these important theoretical concepts are completed. These are very important, the theoretical concepts. Only just 3-4 days, right? So we have to understand what we are doing, right? As a process, we have to understand what is that actually we are doing in the performance testing, and then we can directly jump into the scripting development and all those things. And no, C language is sufficient, but again, basics of C language is sufficient, which we will be covering as part of this course. But the scripts can also be developed using JavaScript. But generally they don't prefer. I see 99% of the projects they don't prefer JavaScript because uh, most of us, or we all have been using C language for scripting since so many years, and then we have so much of support for that in various forums. Okay, for JavaScript we might not have support, and then again, thinking from another perspective, like if you are working in a team, and mostly they will follow the existing C language because 99%, because all the performance testers might or might not know JavaScript, right? First thing. Second thing, if you know JavaScript, if you develop the script, and if you move to some other project, and if someone else is working tomorrow on that, and if he doesn't know about the JavaScript, and the project will be in trouble. So they will follow some uniformity, like what is the language that we have to follow, that they have to choose, and that will be for sure C language. JavaScript is very, very, very rare, 0.01%. Okay, so I prefer to go with C language because of so much of support in various forums. For every problem, for the script you develop, there is a solution. Okay, whenever you develop any script, if you face any problem, for every problem you will have some solution. Okay, especially when you are dealing with C language. Okay. What recommendations will performance testing actually provide to application team, and will they have to work and fix them before going live? See, first thing is, without without testing at least one round of performance testing, we will not provide any suggestions. Once we complete at least one round of performance testing, we can provide suggestions on where what are the critical transactions that have to be addressed. Okay, and let's say if you go to some technical details, like you can clearly mention what is the method of the code that is running slow, or what is the query that is running very slow. Okay, we can provide those query and method details also. Okay, in fact our analysis should be such a way that we can give all the details like what is the query that is taking time, what is the method that is taking so much time and all. So for that purpose, we have to use one APM tool, any one of the APM tool like AppDynamics or Dynatrace. Okay. So if you have that tool, you can provide much more observations, much more inputs to them. Like you can give some inputs on recommendations on how the memory how the memory part can be handled. Like let's say that you have run the test and the heap memory is being used like 60% of being utilized. It is using 60% for 100% load test only. So we can make some suggestions like using of creating of objects or automatically killing or destroying those objects when not in use, or in sense managing that memory, like allocating more amount of heap memory. So it depends on what is the issue, what is the issues that we observed. From that point of view, we will provide our observations to application team. Okay. So it depends on how the performance testing happened, like whether the performance testing went well or not, what are the basic issues that we observed. Based on that, we will be providing our observations to client or the application team to make some changes wherever required. So before going live, if they have to fix or not to fix, that is up to the client. So if the client says, I'm okay with these performance issues, please deploy, they will deploy. They don't wait for our permission. Okay, it all depends on client because he is the owner of the application, right? If he says, let's say that for example, as we discussed, the response time should be less than 2 seconds, but when we tested, it is coming as 7 seconds or 8 seconds. Okay, now actually they should address it immediately. But let's say the client says, hey, I'm okay with 8 seconds for now, please go ahead and deploy into live, go live. So what they will do, they will go live. They will address this 8 seconds issue in the next release. But for now, they will go live. So they will defer this performance testing issue, and they will address in the immediate release or next release or whenever they have some time. It all depends on project to project again, and it all depends on client also. Whatever the client says, that will be final most of the times. Okay. Any other questions? Yes, I will be explaining you 1 or 2 sessions on AppDynamics as well. I will explain you what are the important metrics that we have to fetch from APM tool, and how to fetch those, and where can you see the heap memory, memory statistics, heap memory statistics, garbage collection statistics, and all those things in the AppDynamics tool. Okay, I'll be explaining you 1 or 2 sessions at the end of the course. Any other questions, guys? Okay. What other protocol? See, as I said, right? Okay, I will take one session on TrueClient protocol also at the end of the course, which will definitely help you in terms of understanding how the other protocol works. That is also one important protocol. So I will explain you one. I'll take 1 or 2 sessions on that protocol as well. Yes, load test is done with the peak load. So how do you get that number is important. So which we will be discussing in our upcoming sessions. So this is the number, what you can see here. So here expected load is 500 users. That is a peak load. What do you mean by peak load is, for example, let's say how on a high level, let's assume or let's discuss how this 500 number is coming here. So how do we know that we have to go for load test with 500 users, which is a peak load? So generally, if the application is already in production, so what we have to do is, with the help of business analyst or the product owner or the client, we have to get the historical data of last 1 year or 6 months. Let's say in the last 1 year, in which month, which day, during which time more number of people access the application. More number of people access the application. That is peak load. That is peak load. That number will be given to us for load test. That number will be given to us for load test by the client or the business analyst or product owner, whoever it is. Okay. So in the last 1 year or 6 months, which month, which day, during which time more number of people access the application, they will get it. How they will get it? By looking at the historical data. They can use some SQL queries or some analytical tools like Splunk. Okay, and they will get this number for us. That is a peak load. Okay, there are other ways when the application is not in production, which I will explain you in the upcoming session. So that means when we don't have application in production, how do we get the historical data? We cannot get, right? So how can we get this number then? So that we'll discuss in our upcoming sessions. When the application is not in production, how do they derive this number and all? Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, daily recorded sessions will be provided. If you have any questions, I will be available on the WhatsApp group. You can post your questions on the group or you can ping me directly. Okay. Once all the participants registered, right? So they will create a new group with the final list, right? So in that group, I will be available. I will ping you. So whenever you have any questions, you can ping me. Whenever you're practicing daily or whenever you get any issue, you can ping me. Or if it is very urgent, you can call me directly over WhatsApp. Okay. So I will be available. To support. Mostly I will respond on the same day. In very few, in the next 1 hour or 2 hours, or maximum in the same day only, I'll try to respond. Okay. For all your queries. Okay. So I will be there for support. Yes, we will be learning practicals, or we will be learning the scripting on like 3 to 4 applications, different applications. It's not like one application only. The more we practice on various applications, the more knowledge we will get, the more hands-on knowledge we will get on scripting, which is very, very important. Okay. So if you have any further questions, you can reach out to me on the WhatsApp group, or you can reach out to Kumar sir. Okay. Or you can reach out to Anita ma'am. She will help you, or Kumar sir or me. Anyone can address your questions.